Welcome to the Full-Time Fantasy Podcast, presented by the Fantasy Football World Championship, home to the industry's most accurate rankings.
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the Full-Time Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host, Adam Krautwerson. With me tonight is a special guest, Stephie Smalls, my new friend. Welcome to the show, Stephie. How are you?
Hi, Adam. I'm so excited to be here, talk some fantasy football. It'll be a blast.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. I know you are a Giants fan, so I thought I'd wear my Bills shirt, the only New York football team. Okay, we can get into that a little bit.
Very true.
But we were talking out in Vegas. We met in Vegas at the FFWC, which was an incredible event. What were your thoughts on the FFWC while you were out there?
It was a blast. I'm ready to go back to Vegas, honestly. Like both weekends I was out there, absolutely great time. Need to get back to Circa. If you haven't been to Circa, definitely a place to hit. Such a fun place to watch for opening weekend too. Good times.
Oh, such a good time. I mean, 8 million TVs, 2 levels of seats to watch. And hey, listen, before we get started, a little off topic. I saw you do PGA. Are you into the Ryder Cup this weekend or what? Like, I'm a huge Ryder Cup like fanatic.
Are you? Yeah.
Oh, no. It's on at like 1:30 in the morning, Steph. I'm about to like call into work.
I can't wait. Yeah, I'm freaking out. It's going to be the best weekend ever. PGA is like golf is my second sport. So football comes first, golf is like a close second, and Ryder Cup weekend. I love golf because the weekend starts on Thursday when golf is on.
That's right.
That's why I like golf season, because it starts on a Thursday. That means the weekend starts on a Thursday. So very excited for this weekend. Team USA, it's going to be a tough one with, I think the Euro, that team's not too bad, not too shabby this year. I think they'll keep it close, but we'll take USA to take the win.
Yeah, we'll take USA. And what we're going to do is we're going to log off here when we're done, and we're going to hop right back on and do a PGA podcast because I'm ready to talk Ryder Cup. But right now, we're here to talk fantasy football. Our topic tonight is panic or nah, right? Should we panic on some of these guys? Should we not panic? Is it just some bad luck going on? But listen, I'm going to tee you up first. I'll go first, but quarterback, Daniel Jones. Listen, I don't want to get off on the wrong foot here, this being our first show together and all, but I'm a little panicked. What do you think?
So here's my thing. I think with Daniel Jones, you didn't draft him, or I hope you did not draft him with the intent of starting him week to week. I think that, you look at the last 3 weeks, he's like QB 22, not anything exciting. Yeah. Also played 2 of the best defenses in the entire league. The week that he did not do that, he also was QB 1, and that was off of a second half. So it's going to come down a lot to like what this Giants team decides to do. They need to figure out what the hell their identity is. You just paid this guy, figure it out. He throws 5th most catchable passes in the entire league through the last 3 weeks. They need to find a way to get these guys to not only catch the ball, scheme it up right. You've got Hyatt, you've got Waller. I want this to be a really big Waller week. I think Daniel I'm not panicked about Daniel like I am some of these other quarterbacks that we'll talk about a little bit later, but he overcame a 21-point deficit and everyone just ignored it that week. Like it was not a big deal. Like Daniel Jones is just casually QB1. Not excited about it. He's been under pressure 40% of the time, highest in his career too. So I think Daniel Jones is okay. I wouldn't panic quite yet, especially some of these. I mean, we're talking dynasty leagues. We're not panicking at all. They play the guy. They're going to figure it out. When it comes to redraft, though, I can see where there's a sense of panic, but I'm not sure who you think you're picking up that's giving you better upside week to week.
Yeah, no, you made some really good points there. One is most people didn't draft Daniel Jones. They drafted Daniel Jones as part of a committee, right? You drafted Daniel Jones. You drafted, another quarterback kind of in that range, maybe a Stafford, maybe a a Garoppolo even lower than him, something like that. So you may make a good point there, but I am a little worried. Obviously I love his rushing upside. Dable, coming from the New York Football Bills. Okay. Brian Dable, like he's super smart. And I just don't know what he was thinking going into the season with like no receivers. I mean, Darren Waller's awesome. Saquon's awesome, but like the receivers are like, that's like they're trying to do what the Chiefs are doing with like a bunch of kind of nobodies out there and we're running them out there in different situations and different patterns and stuff like that. So you're right. He's got a higher ceiling with the rushing floor, but it does make me a little bit nervous. And the defenses have been tough. I'm a little bit panicked. I'm like being panicked or not. You know what I mean?
I would see my panic level, like if we were on a scale of like 1 to very panicked. I think I'd be at I can see why people are like halfway there. Yeah. I'm not ready to like totally abandon it because their schedule,
and you're not going to cut them.
It doesn't get better. Like you have the Bills and Miami coming up, so it's not going to get much better. But then the second part of the season is kind of why you drafted this guy. So it's more of like a look ahead.
I like it.
Scenario.
I like it. All right. So who's one of your guys that you want to discuss here? Do you want to go Kyle Pitts? Because I don't know if that's a panic or not for you. What do you think?
Do Kyle Pitts. We'll do Kyle Pitts. So right now, through 3 weeks, tight end 19. God, Kyle Pitts.
Help us.
Painful. This one's painful, especially with this London game coming up. I'll talk about Justin Fields in a little bit, but these are two guys where I kind of feel like you have to start them this week. And luckily for most of us, I hope you didn't draft Kyle Pitts super, super, super high. For me, where I drafted him, he fell to me. Yep. And it felt kind of like I didn't have an option but to take him there due to that upside. I mean, this guy in 30 games, this is bad, ready? In 30 games played, Pitts has only had double digits, PPR, in 10 of them, and he's had 3 touchdowns. Not great. Like, we might be better off with Heineke, but then you look at what he did in like London last week, and the talent that he is. It's very hard for me to be totally out on him because I know if I drop him, my league mate's gonna pick him up and win the league, right?
Right.
So you're in a tough spot here. My panic level for him is very high, though. Like it's very high.
Yeah, mine couldn't be higher. And people who know me know that I owned a Kyle Pitts jersey before anybody else that, in the NFL had a Kyle Pitts jersey. I've been all over Kyle Pitts.
Yeah. He's
so good. 20% to target share. He's running all the routes. The quarterback is just historically awful. This was the thing last year. So as long as the offense isn't historically awful with a historically awful quarterback, he'll be all right. Rookie year, 1,000 yards. And it was historically bad this year. And I warned people watching Desmond Ridder in the preseason, like, guys, we might have the same situation as Mariota all over again. But like you said, I was able to get him when he went tight end 7, tight end 8, tight end 9. So he isn't necessarily killing me, but I started him last week because he faced the Lions with a really bad defense
or something, right?
Yeah. And he still scored like 11 points. Like this week, his one touchdown stuff was in London.
It was 119 yards, I think. 6, I don't know how many. It's something along those lines. 1 touchdown. Like, it's really hard, especially this week, to not. And this is a very much on brand, like Desmond Ridder game, in my opinion, where I can see Desmond Ridder and Pitts having a very good game. But like last year, 59%. It's so bad. We're uncatchable. And then this year, it's almost the same number. It's like 53. Like he doesn't have an improvement. Like we might be better off, but you can't drop him because then you wait for Heineke to come in. You drop this guy and he goes off. You're in a really, really crappy spot.
Yeah.
I'm panicked.
Yeah. Panic meters like 8 to 9. And if this week he doesn't do anything, I mean, you're not going to cut him.
He doesn't do anything this week. I'm at a 9 to the point where 2 more weeks and I'm considering dropping him.
For sure. All right. Moving back over to one of my guys here, quarterback Trevor Lawrence. He is a guy that is just not playing well right now. Let me pull up my quarterback stuff here. Yeah, he's not playing well at all. QB like 18, depending on your league, with all those weapons there. Now he's had a couple injuries there, but Zay Jones. I mean, you lose Zay Jones, you still should be fine with Ingram and Ridley and Kirk and ETN. So but he's been a slow starter, but before it was a little bit scary. The Houston game on Sunday where they had an injuries in the secondary, like, I was about to hit a $700 prop bet on Ridley. He's the only one on like a 7-piece prop bet, and Ridley's the only one who can get there like 65 yards against that defense. He absolutely should have. So but I'm not panicked on Lawrence yet. I think they'll get it together. That division stinks. They're still probably going to win the division. So I'm not panicked on Trevor Lawrence yet, but he's not a guy you were probably like a Daniel Jones. You probably weren't necessarily pairing him up, or maybe you were taking a QB much, much, much later and not planning on using him. You know what I mean? Whereas, you're probably relying on Trevor Lawrence. So that might be a little bit tougher. Well, what do you think?
Yeah, he was going much higher than I even anticipated or where I was comfortable taking him. Yep. Even in like Scott Fishbowl, I remember him going like, this guy was going in the second round. And that was way too high for me. I knew that I needed to take quarterbacks, but there was no way I felt comfortable yet taking him in the second round. With Trevor Lawrence, like, as long as you're okay with whoever you have, that you're okay to start as like a weekly guy, I'm fine waiting on him. But again, another one of these guys, I'm not waiting too long to pull the trigger and drop him, because if, we could see someone like CJ Stroud outscoring him this year, and that wouldn't shock me because of the way that they're playing over there. So I wouldn't wait too long. I would leave him on your bench for now. You probably have someone that there's again, yes, like it's Trevor Lawrence is kind of in a similar situation to what like Daniel Jones went through for years, where the guys are just dropping passes and it's a little bit of a disaster. But I think Jacksonville's kind of figuring it out. You're seeing Trevor Lawrence clean it up earlier than he did last year. So
yeah, no, I think you're right there too. And also, guys that I don't know who you have for the quarterbacks yet, but like guys that like are going around that are finishing around him right now. We've got like Justin Fields.
Yeah.
You got some other guy, Dak Prescott's right there. Like guys that were drafted kind of up where he was that are doing just as badly. So you're really not in that bad of shape yet with Trevor Lawrence.
No.
So I think we'll get to Trevor. I think Trevor Lawrence will come around.
Yeah, no, and you just brought up my next guy, which is Justin Fields.
Yeah.
And he's right around there. And here's the difference between him, and Trevor Lawrence is like Justin Fields, we all drafted him, if you did draft him, for the rushing upside, right?
Yep.
He's not giving us that. We're not getting the rushing upside because Chicago is trying to treat him like a pocket passer. He's not a pocket passer. And I hate when teams do this. They draft these mobile quarterbacks. We see them do fantastic. And then they decide they're like, okay, we're going to try to force you to be something that you're not. And it doesn't go well. And we're seeing that happen. I don't know how I feel about this guy. I wouldn't say my panic level is crazy because I think that Justin Fields probably will have a similar trajectory to what he had last season, where we see him be more of this league winner, this week 11 through whatever, where you're getting that upside there. Yeah. And I'm probably going to look like an idiot for doing this, so I'm going to try to ride the boat. But, between Justin Fields and Pitts, and I've said this, like, I have too many teams to count, and there is a common denominator across the only 3 teams that I am 0-3, and it's that I either have Justin Fields or Kyle Pitts and or both. Yeah. Like, that is the common denominator. And it's because of where I either took them, I have both of them, and they're just like 11 points from Justin Fields every week is not acceptable. Like, I cannot. And then what do you do? Because when he does peak, you're looking at those 30+ point weeks. So you're in a bad spot. So we need the Bears, which again, like, I don't know if this is possible because I'm under the impression the Bears are the worst team in the NFL right now. They
You're
have
probably not wrong. Yeah.
They haven't shown me that they can be competitive. If the Bears can attempt to try to put some type of game plan together, not treat Justin Fields like a pocket passer, which again feels like a strong ask for this team, then I feel comfortable. I'm not ready to drop Justin Fields just so, again, a league mate can go swoop him up and then beat my butt later with,
Yeah. It reminds me of like when like Jim Mora Jr., I think he was the coach for the Falcons when they tried to make Michael Vick a West Coast passer. Yes. Like, imagine how much better Vick would have been if they let him play. Fields is saying the same thing. Even if Fields' teammates like, yo, You just got to let this guy kind of wing it. They did this the first half of last year. Then they let him wing it. He was awesome. Right now, he's 4th in the NFL in rushing attempts for a quarterback. He needs to be number 1. He's 21st in scoring. I mean, all his scoring. You said he 11 points last week. He should have 11 points on the ground between rushing yards and a touchdown every single week. I mean, look what Jalen Hurts does. I mean, Jalen Hurts plays on a 98-yard football field. Every drive, they get down to the half-yard line every single drive, and he falls into the end zone for 2-3 touchdowns a week. That should be Justin Fields moving the ball. They should be going for it on 4th and 1, going for it on 4th and 2, keeping the chains moving. I think I'm not panicked on Justin Fields. This happened last year. They screwed up. Then they let him finally, they let him cook in the second half, and he was amazing. So I'm with you, I think, for sure.
Yeah, I think I'm not quite there. Like, this isn't a guy I'm quite ready to drop. I spent the draft capital on him. I'm going to ride this out. Unfortunately, it's probably going to be painful, but we're looking at a couple weeks of maybe a little bit more pain. This week, against the Broncos too, I'm hoping this is a week that we feel a little bit better. We get some bonus points for what he has done to us. But
holy mackerel. Okay, so moving on here, and this is one that I would love to hear your take on, because I'm getting Kyle Pitts vibes out of this guy this year, and I hate, because I love him. I'm rocking his jersey all over Vegas, like he's my guy. Jahmyr Gibbs, I'm getting the Kyle Pitts, like he's uber talented, and the team doesn't know what to do with him. Should have gone off last week. They ran him into the line, at the 10-yard line, into goal line defense 5 times. They don't throw him the ball but once, incomplete. 17 carries, averaging 5 yards a carry. Like, they're just not using him the way they should be using him. Yeah. They draft him as a top 15 pick, electric back. And then you saw what they didn't do with Swift last year. They weren't able to figure out Swift.
Yeah, I know.
Now Swift's killing it for the Eagles. Like, Gibbs, you're still probably okay starting him, because there's a lot of really freaking bad running backs this year. But man, if he gets to start tomorrow and Montgomery sits and he doesn't smash tomorrow, my panic meter is at an all-time high.
Yeah, and I think with him, where he's like this third factor of like the guy is that I'm a little bit worried about, because all my teams that are maybe not doing as well, they also probably have Gibbs on them too, because it's hard because you drafted him and the expectation is that he's getting you the points. That's not exactly happening. Like last week, I think we saw his highest snap percentage. Fine, in a positive game start, got it. But then also you're seeing like Craig Reynolds and then like they're bringing in Bam Knight for like 3 carries, which is crazy and concerning, because the second that Montgomery went down, we're making Bam Knight a priority. Like, you just spent the draft capital on this guy. So yes, I'm starting to get concerned. Week 4, we're not going to panic quite yet, but it's hard with these guys too, because with the rookies, you see this happen. Like, even like Ken Walker, very different players, but last year, like, he didn't help you win weeks until like way late in the season. So it's hard for me to rationalize you ever dropping this guy.
No.
But you definitely need to like find a solution, because if this behavior continues from the Lions staff, you need to be able to sit him comfortably.
Yeah.
And not with a backup. Like, I don't think these guys on the Lions offense are going to give you like a fair shot at like the points that Gibbs should be getting you.
Right. Gibbs, RB to 33. And the thing is, listen, he got 17 carries. Great. Mm-hmm. Awesome. But like you're running him, they're at the 10-yard line. You're running him out of I formation into like 10 defenders.
It's so bad.
And then he'll run an arrow route over the middle of the field in front of the end zone. And you don't look at him. Like, what are we doing? Like, it's stuff like that. Hopefully they freaking get that going, and I'll never drop Stephie. I'll never drop any running back. As soon as you drop them, the starter gets hurt on that team and he's the starter. So never drop running backs ever. But yeah, so I'm like borderline panicked. I would say right now, but I got to see more out of this coaching staff to get involved. Who do you got next?
This one hurts my heart a little bit. It hurts my heart, but I'm not going to give up and I'm not going to drop him. I don't care what anyone says. I'm panicked. Trust me.
Boy. Okay.
I am panicked.
All right.
I am panicked heavy. Oh, Jahan Dotson, you're breaking my heart. It's hurting my heart.
Yep.
Through 3 weeks, wide receiver 74.
Gross.
Oh my God. He
Gross.
even said to the media, I think it was today, a couple days ago, like he isn't going to be a red zone target this year because they're moving the ball around more. And I think that this is going to be a guy that's more of a league winner. This is going to be a tail end of the season type guy. You have to ride it out. You're seeing him running a lot of the immediate routes. He's getting a lot more slot work. It's not a safe start because of Howell. And I think that it's not a safe start because of Washington. I will say that I think that they're still figuring out what's going on over there. And I think that's playing a piece of this. And what's concerning is like, you look at a guy like Puka Nacua, right? He has 10 more targets than Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson combined.
That's crazy.
That's the problem.
It's
I
crazy.
think they're going to figure it out. But again, like I've seen this team and I said it, everyone was so excited about them week 1, week 2. I'm like, there is not going to be a team that comes back down to earth faster than this Washington Commanders team. And that's exactly what happened. It's probably going to be what continues for quite a bit. If they want to win games, Dotson needs to get involved. He is the weapon that they need to actually attempt to stay in some games. And not that they haven't done that, but last week, I think you saw them playing like the Washington Commanders should be playing at this point. So I'm a little bit worried about Dotson unless a true stud that's going to give you points every single week for the rest of the season pops on your waivers. I'm not picking him up. But I'm definitely like my panic level is quite high.
Yeah, it's pretty scary over there. I think you're right there. They're falling down the rankings. I mean, you definitely can't start the guy. I mean, he's down there with like, Braxton Berrios and Zay Jones, who hasn't played, and like all these type of guys. Like Dontavian Wicks, it has more fantasy points right now than Jahan Dotson. I feel like he's like someone from a Key and Peele skit. Dontavian Wicks.
All they're doing is giving Brian Robinson the ball, and that's all you're seeing right now. And it's working in like, I guess, a sense that like they're playing football. Like it's not working in a productive manner or anything that's going to matter to us as far as fantasy goes.
Yeah.
So Jahan Dotson, like if you were able to go out and pick up like Tank Dell, like I probably am picking up Tank Dell over Dotson, because I think that just over the course of the season, like we're seeing when the Texans, for example, go into garbage time, like Stroud is passing the ball, like, and you're not seeing that out of Howell. And I think that you kind of knew that was going to happen with Howell, unless you were a Howell truther. I think Howell was drafted where Howell should have been drafted. Like, I don't think that Howell was a bad quarterback. I don't think he's a great quarterback either.
Yeah. Yeah. And he's, he was really bad in the Bills game, throwing pick sixes and all that type of stuff. But
you saw Howell being Howell.
That's right. So I'm definitely panicked on Dotson because where you took him in probably like the 6th round or something, like 6th, 7th round, depending on your league format and all that. Like so many, all those touchdowns he scored last year, all those touchdowns he scored in the preseason, like he was looking great.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
That was the thing. And I fell for it too. Like you saw him, like it was, I think there was one half of the preseason, it was like 5 receptions for 76 yards or something. And you were seeing them talk about it nonstop, where this is the guy that Howell is finding the connection with. And you're not even seeing anything remotely close to that. Like he's in the locker room saying, we're spreading the ball out. And the thing is, they're not spreading the ball out. They're just running the ball. They're not spreading it out.
Brian Robinson's catching touchdown passes. Like that's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing? But so panic mode for sure. A guy that I'm like on a scale of a 10 with. I'm not even panicked with this guy coming up here because I didn't really draft a lot of him and I wasn't really thinking that he was going to do anything. But Najee Harris is who a lot of people thought he was going to be. I mean, I thought there was a path for Najee. I thought there was a path in a sense where like the O-line was supposed to be much, much better. They can get back to throwing the ball more. Kenny Pickett, the last 3 weeks of last year, was like one of the highest rated PFF quarterbacks, Pro Football Focus rankings. So I thought there was a chance this offense would just be better. But he looks like he's 42 years old running out there.
Not even 42. He looks so like it's
slow.
And it stinks because I think that I've been a Najee apologist.
Me too, a little bit.
And it's hard for me to fully say that this isn't some kind of combination of like Matt Canada and just the whole Steelers. Their O-line, I really advocated for them as someone that took their over 8.5. Like, I genuinely was disgusted and disturbed by the way that the Steelers have come out and looked. Like, it is not what I was expecting. That O-line does not look like what I thought I was going to see because, you know, they did make improvements. It doesn't look as much like that. You can't really say that because it's obviously improved from what we saw last year. But he's also coming off of one of his, like when you look at the snap counts now with Warren, this team is doing exactly what they told us they were going to do in the preseason. I didn't exactly believe it. I had a hard time like accepting that, but then you see it on the field. And I have to be honest, it's reminding me a lot of, and this is not a stat, there's no metric to go off of. He's reminding me of Swift on the Lions, where that confidence is like completely diminished. Like he's walking away from the field, like his head is down. He's not looking any of his teammates in the eye. And when that starts happening, I'm nervous. Like Najee might be the guy like Swift where we see him go to another team and he has a resurgence. But right now, he does not look good. And again, like it's a little early. I always say like week 4, depending on who it is, a little early to be dropping these guys. Like, I don't know that I'm ready to confidently say drop Najee Harris. You spent the draft capital. You're going to have to ride it out another like 2 weeks, in my opinion.
Yeah. Hopefully you traded him already, or hopefully like he has
something for him. Yeah.
He has a week where he looks good and you can trade him. RB48 right now. Everyone in America knows that he's not the best running back on his own team. And so it's really hard. I mean, you're again with a lot of these running back stuff we're kind of brushing it under the rug because there's like 4 good running backs. And like the other ones that are good are ones that like are handcuffs that where people are playing off of waivers, you know, Cleveland, the Rams, Kyron, like all those guys, like, so people are kind of like all these running backs that went in the top 4 rounds, man, most of them they're not scoring touchdowns. They're not producing. It's been pretty gross for the running back position already this season, injuries and all that type of stuff too.
Yeah. I'm with you.
Yeah. All right. What do you got next? You got another one for us?
All right. This is probably my last one here. Another wide receiver that I'm torn. So let's see how you feel about it. Treylon Burks. This one hurts a little bit.
Hurts.
Another guy that I feel like I've stuck my chest out for, like, I mean, worse than John Dotson we're talking here. Wide receiver 77, best week 2, 10.6 points. What are you doing to me, Treylon? Here's the thing. Here's the caveat with Treylon Burks. He is still in a brace at practice. He sprained his LCL during the offseason. I think that this is playing a factor into it. I think what also is playing a factor is that Ryan Tannehill looks like garbage. Like we had like 4 really like solid years out of Ryan Tannehill, and I think we got love drunk on that. Yeah. Thinking that Ryan Tannehill could keep up with that. It does not. It's not going well. The worst thing is there's not really a lot going on the depth chart that's going to make me feel any better for these wide receivers. But Treylon Burks is like a very viable option as a target for Tannehill. So if he can just pull it together a little bit, I don't know, maybe we see something. You look at him like last 2 weeks, 22% target share,
yes,
42% air yard share.
Yes.
Oh, man, but 3 games, 6 receptions, and 3 drops? What are we doing here?
I know. No, you just took the words out of my mouth, but those numbers, those are great. Those are great. Those are great numbers. I think he's going to get better. I'm not panicked on Burks. we probably took him late enough where he's your wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5, wide receivers, especially after the Hopkins signing. He was dropping. He's talented. The thing about him is he really has to be super efficient, just like A.J. Brown had to be there. He's not going to get that many opportunities. The other day, week 2, he catches a freaking 70-yard pass and gets tackled at the 3-yard line. Like, bro, you got to score on that freaking
You're seeing
play.
it with Chig too, right? Like Chig is not being who we thought Chig was going to be this year either. And I think that that's more a reflection of Tennessee as a whole.
Yeah.
And I don't know that Tannehill is the guy that can truly elevate any of these guys if they're not put in they need to be in like the perfect position. And if they're not, like, yeah, you're dropping 3 passes in 3 games. Like, that's happening. You're only getting 6 receptions because that's what Tannehill is capable of. What's concerning is this is more, and I haven't looked totally at this offense, but like, it's probably like you look at the metrics of this offense and it can't be great because Derrick Henry's not having a good year.
20 yards last week.
We're not having a good year over there.
Yeah, it's a mess over there. But I think and I try to like look at it in a like a practical way too. Like Treylon Burks hasn't been good, but probably depending on your roster construction, you didn't really have to start him. Now he's gonna have some good weeks, and hopefully those are the weeks where you've got a bye week and you got to play him, and so it doesn't really end up hurting you. So that's the way I want to look at it. But I think Burks will get better. I'm not panicked on Burks because I haven't really had to start him yet. So hopefully he has a big week.
I'm only panicked if it's like a team that's like 1-2. 0-3 and he's on your bench and you need the depth and there's like an option to go out there and like replace him with like an A-chain or like someone that's going to like maybe provide you more value later on in the season.
For sure. All right. I got a couple more here. Let's see. A guy that has kind of had a down year so far a little bit. Last week was Monday night was kind of embarrassing for the young man. T. Higgins had a week to forget. And so some people were like questioning, should they trade him, all this other stuff. I'm worried about Burrow, but I think if Burrow can stay healthy and get healthier as the season goes on, I'm not worried at all about T. Higgins. I'm not worried at all about this offense if Burrow can stay healthy. I mean, I think Higgins dropped like 4 passes on Monday night. That's not his MO. They're going to let him play through it. He's still going to get the targets. So we got some questions this week about, should I trade T. Higgins, this, that? Depends on what you're going to get for him. But right now you're probably selling low. I think Higgins will definitely bounce back.
Yeah, I am not worried about Higgins quite literally at all. You look at like week 2, he had damn near 30 points, 28.9, I think it was. I would be curious to see if some of those like dropped passes were due to Burrow's placement too, because like Burrow didn't look great at all.
No.
And I think at the end of the day, like T. Higgins is an elite wide receiver. Through my eyes, he's also on a contract year. So I don't think that his in quotations efforts are going to be what you saw that game with Joe Burrow, who's quite literally has a machine on his calf in between. Like this guy is so hurt and he's just like, I think the healthier he gets, you said it best. I'm not worried about Higgins. I don't think you're getting his true value if you were to move on from him right now.
Right. Yeah, and he'll go as long as Burrow starts, he'll be fine. Burrow didn't look great. I mean, right now Higgins is wide receiver 42, but again, if he doesn't drop those 4 passes, he's probably wide receiver 30 or something right now. So
yeah, you're gonna see Higgins completely fine.
Yeah,
he's someone probably of all the players that we have named, I am the least worried about T. Higgins.
Perfect. So I have one more guy left. Do you want to get to a couple questions here before we
sure.
Get to my last guy? Perfect. So we got a question from let's see, from Adam. Oh, I'll definitely pull that one up. 0-3 in a league with Justin Fields as my quarterback. Is this you? Is this your burner? Is your burner, Stephie? Do I start him against Denver defense that allowed 70 points to Miami, or do I start Brock Purdy? Thank you very much.
Brock's got Arizona, which I wouldn't knock Arizona the way that a lot of people are.
There have been at least. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that if you drafted Justin, if you're not willing to part ways with him, this is probably the week to start him against the Broncos. Kind of
100%
resilient defense. Their defense is, everyone was expecting them to come into the season being a top 5 defense, but like that's not what we're seeing. And this team just doesn't look good. If you want floor, you're 0-3 though. Like you might as well shoot for the stars at this point, in my opinion.
I mean, could you have any two completely different type of quarterback? Brock Purdy, he wouldn't run if his life depended on it. And Justin Fields, who runs all over the field. I mean, I just like you said, I'm starting Fields. Denver has the 30th ranked defense against quarterbacks.
Yeah.
As far as fantasy points allowed. Purdy's playing Arizona, who's 27, so they're both good matchups. But I'm starting Fields because when they do decide to let him loose, you're not going to know it until it's too late. Until he rushes for that 80-yard touchdown, and then that 40-yard touchdown. You're like, oh my God, I just left 40 points on my bench. Purdy can't get to 40. Purdy's going to throw 5 touchdowns to get to 40 points. So I think you're going with Justin Fields for sure. Or maybe even, hey, Purdy had a good week last week. You're 0-3. Try to get a spark. Try to trade one of them, and maybe that'll help too.
Or see how Fields does. If he has a high week, then I would sell, and I might do that myself. If Fields has a good week this week, I'm probably trying to get out.
Yeah, could work for sure. All right, well, one more question here. We got a question from Jeff. Rest of season. So this is rest of season. Rachaad White or James Conner rest of season. What does your gut tell you?
Conner. Listen, I'm a Conner girl. I'm going to say it. And
say it.
Listen, Conner has done nothing other than the people will, fight with you about him being injury prone, and that's fine. But the last couple of seasons, he's done nothing but produce for people. And I think that Arizona is feistier than everyone realizes. Zach Ertz is going to have a good year. James Conner is having a good year. Hollywood Brown looks not so bad. And you're going to see this team continue to stay in games. Like I took Arizona, their win total dropped to 3.5, and I couldn't have smashed that over faster because I think this team's going to win. Is going to win games.
I mean, Dobbs looks like good. He looks like it's crazy to say. I mean, good for like Dobbs. Like, and then they're going to get Kyler Murray back. But I'm going to my initial thing was Conner because I was surprised at how good Conner. He looks lighter and faster and quicker. But I think I'm going to go with Rachaad White here. It's close only because I think the offense might be a little bit better, and Rachaad White is getting the same volume Conner's getting. White just needs to get into the end zone, and I think eventually he will. But listen, you're not going to go wrong with either one of them rest away, and you're probably really happy with what you've been getting out of those two guys. We've been talking all night about panic or not. Like you're happy with the way that these guys are producing.
And I have White. I have him on plenty of my leagues. I'm just lower on Tampa Bay's offense than most people are. And I think that they're another team. It might take longer, but I foresee this offense falling on their face. And it might not take till week 8. I'm out.
You're out.
I'm out. I've said it, and I'm going to die on this hill, and I'm probably going to be wrong because they look better than I expected, but I don't foresee this. I don't foresee them staying where they're at.
Yeah, no, it's tough. Listen, all these teams without elite quarterbacks, man, it's just hard to be consistently good once defenses start to figure you out and your limitations, and it's just going to be really hard for sure. Yeah. And that kind of that Kyler Murray thing does help James Conner, I think, rest away here. All right, so I got one more here. Tight end Dalton Kincaid. He's a guy that I wasn't super high on. So we get a lot of questions being a Bills fan throughout the offseason. Kincaid, can I trust Kincaid? Dalton Kincaid. And I always said, man, if he plays the slot, start him, play him. I think he'll be fine. But they're playing 12 personnel, Stephie, and he's not getting depth targets. He's getting like these short little passes. Like he's an athletic freak of a tight end that needs to be pushing the seam and getting downfield, and he's not doing that. He's running screen passes. He's running little baby hitches, and he's just not. He's only finished tight end 15 or higher once in the first 3 games. Dawson Knox is a guy that they trust. They re-signed like 2 years ago. Like Allen trusts him. He blocks really well. He's not going anywhere. So I think Kincaid is a guy that in non-tight end premium leagues, you can probably cut if you have like a decent tight end. Hopefully Kincaid wasn't your number 1 tight end, a rookie tight end. Yeah. But I think he's a guy you can cut and just wait. If you get a Dawson Knox injury, you can pick him back up. Or if you wait to see if the Bills kind of expand their offense. I've kind of been thinking like this little Josh Allen was so bad against the Jets week 1. I think like the last 2 weeks against these terrible teams, they just said, listen, we're just going to keep it simple and just beat them with our talent. Keep it simple. We got this game against Miami coming up to maybe be the best, the winner of this might be the best team in the NFL. Maybe they break it out against Miami with Kincaid. But right now, I think he's cuttable, and my panic meter is a 10.
Yeah, I think that I was always skeptical of where the fantasy community was going as far as Don Kincaid. Like his ADP got crazy towards the end, like as we were creeping on the season start. What is he sitting at? Tight end 21 right now. And a lot of, the apologists for him, which again, he's a rookie and he's on pace to have the 14th most receiving yards by a rookie. Blah, 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 blah. That's fine. And that's great. Not really a big feat, to be honest. Like not something that's going to impress me at this point. Like if it's not, I don't even know if tight end premium, I think you're probably in a better spot to move on from him. I might give it a week. Is Dawson Knox hurt right now?
So last week he was limited in practice and then he played. This week I haven't heard of him being out at all, but I could be wrong. But no, I think Knox is still good to go.
Yeah, I think that Dalton Kincaid, I don't know. I don't have a lot of him.
Yeah.
I think that if you have there's a lot of leagues where you could still pick up a Laporta. There's still leagues. He might be someone where maybe you can capitalize on him having a good week and trade him off after this week. Maybe that's the direction to go. I don't know that he's make or breaking your team because I would be shocked. Is someone actually if you're starting Dalton Kincaid week after week, your roster construction concerns me.
Right.
But I think that you have to have some type of backup there to be able to start because he's not a week-to-week starter.
Yeah. And I think that's the point. Panic sounds crazy because we're not actually panicking over him because we don't really.
We're not nervous
we're
about
not
him.
invested in him. But as far as, so I say tight end premium only because in tight end premium leagues, a lot of times you will hold 2 or 3 tight ends because they get so many points and stuff like that. In a regular tight end league, you might only hold 1. And then you'll pick one up for the bye weeks and stuff. I think in those leagues you can just drop him and pick him up later if he's good because no one's really gonna run to the waiver wire for Dalton Kincaid.
And I think that he's someone where I know a lot of people don't do this, but you can kind of monitor what's going on there, and you'll be able to see the increase in involvement. I don't think this is just going to be a spike every single week where it's starting Dalton Kincaid. You're going to see it coming. But yeah, I think that Dalton Kincaid, there's a lot of weapons there, and he's obviously a lot of mouths to feed, and right now he's not being fed.
He is not being fed, and we like our tight ends to eat.
Yes.
So, hey, great job tonight. Wonderful time hanging out with you, going through our panics or NAS. That was super exciting. Where else can we find you other than Ryder Cup? By the way, I'm going to be in the DMs asking all types of Ryder Cup betting questions from you. So, where else
we might have to do an impromptu live at some point on my channel. Just stream and watch. This is
2:30 in the morning. Let's do it.
Yeah. Everyone be ready, locked and loaded.
Who are you talking to? It's Jake from State Farm. We're talking Ryder Cup.
It's Steph from the Small Show. No, but everyone can find me on Twitter at Stephie Smalls with 3 L's. YouTube channel, Stephie Smalls Show. But this was a blast. It's been a while since I've been able to just, shoot the
ticket. Shoot the breeze.
I said shit. Here we go. So it's been a while since I've been able to just talk fantasy. So it's good times over here.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Again, everyone check her out. Check out all of her stuff. And hey, maybe we'll have you on again soon. So that'll be fun.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Perfect. All right, guys. Well, thanks for joining me, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Good luck.